Hello everyone, welcome to Caroline's Craftery. It's a nice cool day here today. We finally get a reprieve of the hot weather. But I've been tea dyeing and just color dyeing some papers. And I wanted to show you how I'm doing it in a very limited space. Now I'm holding the camera at the moment. And you can see this is my little setup. Over here, I've got like a bunch of shimmer mists, etc. And in these containers, I have some dyes. But this is my dyeing area. Now it's maybe, that box is probably 2.5 feet. So it's not very big. And I wanted to show you this setup. I'm going to actually show you how I'm dyeing in a different area where I can put my camera into the little case that it's in for videoing. But I use these big trays. I want to actually get some smaller ones. These ones are not big enough for 2 sheets of paper, but way too big for one. And I've only got 6. So on top of the box, I have papers I'm going to dye, and these are ones that I've dyed. And then over here, I have my plastic doilies and stuff. And then, of course, a whole bunch of stuff that I need to sort and scan and excuse me. And over here is a bunch of lace and stuff I'm going to dye very soon. But that's my limited space. And then once I put them on the trays, I put them kind of all over. Like I put one on top of here to dry. And just over here, I have a shelf that I set a couple on, etc. Or sometimes I'll just leave them crisscrossed. Like I'll just cross them like this here and leave them like that stacked. Either way works. In the back there, I've got my tea dyes in the big jar. I've got some purple and some pink and 1 bottle of shimmer mist, which I'm going to use when I'm showing you some stuff. So let me move stuff over to where I can video having my camera held in a case to make it easier. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back and I've got a little makeshift tea dyeing thing set up on my desk. Now this is where I normally do my videos, but where I normally tea dye is over there. But I can't move my camera mount. So I'm just going to show you what I've done over here so you can see. Now, you can use any paper. And I'm trying to use up a bunch of odds and ends of papers that I've got. And by doing them, tea dyeing them, color dyeing them, I'm hoping maybe I will use them up quicker. So I've got a bunch of like writing tablets. I believe this was like a typing paper. So I'm using that for like my clear papers. And then I picked up, I don't know, probably like 6 of these reams or whatever you want to call them of this graph paper. Now I love this because the lines do not disappear. Now I know, and I'm sure a lot of us have had the issue when you tea dye graph paper, the lines almost vanish. These stay pretty much just as bright as they are now. So I really like that. But sometimes having one that's really faded is nice too. So I have the option to do both. Also, I've got a whole bunch of like stationery papers. And these are all fairly thick. I've got a whole bunch of these, and these all dye really nice, and you'll see what they look like after I dye. There's some, they've got this brown line there. There's this Christmas type one, not really Christmas, but it actually is Christmas, and they dye really nice. And then I have some of these with the bows, and we're going to dye some of these today. Now I'm going to, we'll use one of these, I think. Yeah, let's use one of those. We'll tea dye one of these with a doily. Now I use a variety of plastic doilies. I have lots of plastic doilies. I have tablecloths, etc. Some of them are just cheap ones from the dollar store or something, and they're quite a thick one, but they work. But this here is my favorite. Now they were quite big and round. I got these years ago at a little flea market thing, and I absolutely love them. Now I've got most of mine cut down so they fit on an 8.5 by 11. Now I did that just because I thought it was easier for me, so that's why I did it that way. And I have a stack that I keep by my tea dyeing station, and I just go through them. I go through the pile. When I've used them, I set them aside. Then that way I use them all. So what I do is I have these foam brushes. This one is well used, but it's got lots of life in it. My tea is right here, and we'll do the colored stuff in a minute. So I just dip my brush in there. Oh, and I think I used purple on it last, but that doesn't matter. It's gonna be just fine. I don't usually wash them in between, so I just brush it like that. I flip it over, dip my foam brush again, and I brush it on. Now it doesn't look like much on this paper at the moment, but when it dries, it will be fine. And that's it. I leave it like this. Now, I take my doily, and I see I've got some wrinkles here. Now, it's not like a big deal, but I'll just lift this up, and I'll just brush that if I don't want any wrinkles. If there's wrinkles, then your doily won't go down as nice. I place this on top. I just give it a little pat, and then I bring in a spray of some kind. Now this is Dilution Shimmer. It's laid back lilac. I'm going to give it a shake. Some people say you're not supposed to shake them, but I do. And this is quite an intense purple. And I'm just going to spray it on. Normally I'd have like a back. That's why I have it in the box. Now I can leave it blotchy like that, or I can come back in with this and I can brush over it and spread that purple out again. Now I don't mind if it's white, not really white, but tea dyed in areas and purple in other areas. So that's it. Now I set this tray aside and I let it dry. And you'll see in a minute what becomes of them. Now here I pulled out some of the papers, and I just wanted to show you a few of them. Now this is the grid paper, graph paper. I'm going to tip it upside down first. Now I'm not going to tea dye this one. I'm going to use the fabric dye on it. So I'm just going to put the lid on my tea. One less thing to worry about. And this is just fabric dye that is fairly diluted. And this is a purple one. And this is like the liquid stuff that comes in a bottle, like a plastic bottle. I get it at Michael's, but I find it at yard sales and stuff. So it's fairly diluted. You're going to ask me how much. I'm going to say I probably put in a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons into this half-pint jar. Now I've got a different brush I use for the colors, and this I use for all the colors. So if the colors get kind of mixed, I'm okay with that. So I've dipped it in my purple, and I'm just going to brush it on. Now it kind of looks, I don't know, liney. I don't know what. Like you can see my brush strokes, and that's okay because once it's done, you won't see that. And now let's do the other side. And you can see on this how the lines almost resist the purple at first. So there's that. It's done that quick. Now I'm just setting, oh, hold on. Sorry, my computer is right there. And something was touching the keys. Let's try another piece. Now every piece of paper reacts differently, like different brands, etc. This is that Christmassy one, so let's do it in purple as well. Now as I say, this is like easy in a small space. I get to sit down. I have issues with my back, so I can't stand for extended periods of time, especially if I'm standing still. That's like really hard. So this way I can do this, and I'm not sure if I said, but it takes about, the paper's about a half an hour to dry. Now these here, with all these lines, I'm not going to worry about it because it gives it some extra texture on the paper. So I'm just trying to balance these over here. Which one's this one? This is the bow one. This one actually turns out quite nice. Now I am going to show you some samples when I'm done. I want to get about 10 smaller trays. Next time I go out shopping, I'm going to run by. We have it's called the Great Canadian Warehouse, and they kind of cater to restaurants, businesses type thing, but anybody can go in and shop. And they have these trays, and that's where I bought these ones. And when I bought them, I was hoping for 2 papers, and I can put 2 papers, but not when I'm doing the doily thing. So we got that. Let's do, this is that the typewriter paper. Now it is quite thin, but it does tea dye nicely. And I just do that quick and easy. And the more intense you want the color, stronger you make your dye. Now you can do this with tea, with coffee, with, you know, Easter dyes, with whatever you use, you can use to dye. I like to use a lot of shimmer mist and whatnot. Now there's this one here with the pattern, and it dyes very nicely. This is quite a thick paper. I'm going to say probably like a 28 weight. Hopefully you can't hear that beeping too loud. There's the truck outside doing something. So this is my last tray, but this will give you an idea. But it's that simple. It goes by really, really quick. Okay. So now I'm going to put my lid on my purple because we're done that. And I'm going to bring in, I'm just going to close my window. Okay, hopefully the beeping isn't quite as loud. Now these are done with the purple dye we just used. And there's this one here with the line. Now the line does, of course, you can see it, but it's really kind of blended it all together. And this is the back. Now I've done these exactly the same way as I did. Now there's this here one here, and I don't know if you can see the marking here, but that is from the tray, because the tray has like a grid on the back. So the back of this one, now you can see where, you know, the one side soaked to the other side. And I don't know if it looks pinkish. It's kind of pinkish, but it's purple. Now here is this one, and I love how the grid of the tray showed up on that. It looks really cool. And then, of course, the back side. Now here's that Christmas paper. Now it's still the same stuff around it, but it's just kind of changed it. You can see where there was a crease in the paper. I might iron that out before I use it. And again, you can see the grid of the tray in there. Now I do have a couple big metal trays, and you can see the lines here, which is nice. I like that. So even when that gets ironed out, you're going to see those lines, which is nice. And this is kind of an example. You can see the dye is thicker in spots, but that is totally okay. Now here's the graph paper. You can see how bright those lines still are. So I really like that. And again, on the back, you've got that grid of the trays, which I love that. You can still write on it, but yet, yeah. And here is the one with the bow. And again, the grid lines of the tray. And the back is just plain purple. And this is some of the typewriter paper. And it turned out really, really good. It's fairly thin, but it's quite strong paper. And again, all that goodness of the tray on the back side of it. So what I've been doing is being that I've got the 6 trays, I make like 6 of the typewriter paper, or a clear, just white paper. Wait till those dry, and then I do a batch of the 6 different papers that I have. But these turned out so good. Love them. And I do enjoy having the lines in there, just to give it a little extra something. So that's the purple done exactly the way I just did them. Now, here, I'm not going to show you each of the paper, but we've got some aqua ones. This one here, you can really see how the aqua went darker on the sides. Oh, this one here, I did that, and then I realized at the last minute I hadn't painted the back, and I was working on purple, so I just put purple on the back, and I thought it turned out pretty good. But we've got lots of aqua ones. So kind of 12 sheets of each right now. And then there was really dark. The aqua started really, really dark, and then I thinned it down. So this is actually the same dye, just thinned down. Here you can see that it picked up a little bit of color that was on the tray. Totally okay. But these are a little bit dark and bright for me, but and then these were just some I started playing with at the very start. The purple again was a little bit darkish, and I just added a bit more water. And I was just playing at this point. This was a pink that is barely pink, but it picked up a little bit that was on the tray. And then we've got some blues. This one here turned out kind of nice. It's kind of blue with bits of purple in it. Again, that Christmas paper. But just a big variety of ones. This is a denim color that I had. But anyways, you get the gist of all that. Now, here is some of the I call it colored tea-dyed doily paper. And these are done exactly the way I just did them. And I absolutely love them. Now a lot of these were used shimmer mist on them. So I'm not sure how well you can see the shimmer. But I love, love, love the shimmer on there. It just gives it that really extra touch. So I absolutely love these. Turn them this one. This one was done in the aqua color. Now these were done with the tea dyeing and then spraying on the top. And like I say, I don't know if you can see the shimmer in there. And you can see always where it picks up bits of color that were on the tray. I very rarely wash my trays in between. And then here's this pink and aqua one. Love it. Love, love, love. And of course, purple. This was done with some purple, and then this is like a bronze color going through here. And like I say, I don't know how well the camera picks up that shimmer, but it's beautiful. And this one here, it's kind of an orangish color. And yeah, beautiful. Years ago, I bought a whole bunch of shimmer mist from somebody, and I'm still using it up because when I spray this, the shimmer mist on here, I actually have diluted it with water. It's probably about half and half. Half shimmer mist, half water. Now this here is actually the back side of this paper, and I absolutely love it. Love, love, love. And that's just the markings from the tray. And this is the front side, which isn't as nice as some of the other ones, but it sure created an awesome back. And then again, this is all purple shimmer. And that would have been this here for this, because this is, I don't have many purple shimmery stuff. So that would be there. Now here is just a purple, kind of plain purple, but I sprayed it with shimmer mist as well. And then the back side really picked up that doily, or the tray. And I think with the weight of the well, this one didn't have any weight on it, but just the weight of the wet paper and stuff onto it. And here is kind of a dull or a light purple. I think I just put a few sprays on it, and then I used the brush on this one to brush it all over. And again, the backs look absolutely beautiful. Here's another one of like a pinkish. Love it. And this is done on the bow paper. This one here. Now this one, no, I did use shimmer mist on this one. I can see the shimmer. And, you know, around the edge, you get a little bit of color. This one here turned out good. Love it. Again, the bow paper, so it turns out good. This one here is a bit dark, but it will get used. It was quite a dark shimmer mist. And then this one here, I think I just used like a little bit of bronze on it. And this one has lots and lots of shimmer in there. I do hope it picks it up a bit. And of course the back. The back is just as beautiful as the front. Here's a nice green one, and I love how that kind of got crinkled. And that was just a crinkle in the paper that went all the way along. And then, of course, the back. I do love mixing up of the colors as well. I think I will scan some of these. I did, years ago, I made a digital out of a bunch of these that I did. So I think I might do another one because I have different doilies now and just different designs. This one's I kind of did the different circles of these different colors, so that turned out good. But I'm not gonna show you like absolutely all of them, but they all have their own beauty. So in here was just a big mixture. Now this here one, the placemat, it was actually a placemat. And I either got it on Amazon or the dollar store. And it's quite a thick one. It kind of looks like leaves in a way, but that's pretty cool. And again, the back. And then some of the doilies that I really like, I have some half ones from when I chopped them up. So I'll just use a half one sometimes. Aqua and purple again. Some pinks, some brighter pink, and here's that kind of corally color, and a lovely, lovely. Now this one here is not done with a shimmer mist. It is done with just a dark spray. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but it'll get used. Another purple one, gotta love the purple. Now some doilies, tablecloths, etc. do not turn out as good as others, and I think it's got to do with the weight of the doily or that. But look at that back, that turned out so good. This one here is very pretty. Again, the shimmer mist ones and the other ones are not quite, they're mixed up in the pile. This one here was one of the tablecloths that I got. It's okay, but the lines and the doily isn't as crisp of an image. There's that one. This one here was done like with a bronze one. Now this one here was done with just a fabric dye sprayed on top. The same way I just did it with this, but I put green fabric dye into a bottle and sprayed it on. And I think I used a little bit of aqua in there as well. Very like that, very much. This one here is really nice. I love this one. And it is a shimmer mist on that one. And that one there is shimmer mist as well. This one here is really cool. Now it's kind of like a grid paper. I bought a big, huge tablecloth, and in the center it had all these little squares. And that's how it turns out when it's color tea-dyed doily paper. And this one here, this is just fabric dyes on here. Love, this one's gonna go so good in a sea-themed journal. Love this one. It almost looks like it could be scales. I'll have to do a few more like that. Love that one. Here's another one done with that grid style. A little bit dark for me. This one here, I love it and I don't love it. Very steampunkish, grungy, but it will definitely get used. I love it, but I don't love it. This here is very beautiful. It's got some pinks and then it's got like this orange-ish color to it. Love that one. And here's the pink grids. This one here, I love this part of the doily. Not keen on the dark brown, but it's not bad either. It's gonna fit into some journals really good. And this is kind of the same doily, or it's from the same tablecloth, but I sprayed this with just I think it was called wheat, and it just gives it kind of a creamy color. So they turned out. Now here's a bright pink one. Again, not my favorite, but it's going to fit in perfectly. This one's got lots of pink brought up on the back with almost white. Lighter pink. We've got a green and a purple. And then the blue. We're getting into the fabric dyed ones now, but I've kind of been mixing. This one here is quite nice. It's kind of a peachy color, like that one. This one's just kind of a big mess, but it'll come in handy for something. Some of them did turn into a big mess. Now, I'm not sure what paper I used with these. None of them I used just regular paper. So I must have had a batch of something just kind of sitting there that I wanted to use up. This one here is nice pale greens. And not sure what I sprayed that with. A little bit of greens. Nice green there. This has got a little bit of purple on it. Now this one here I tried. I didn't put tea on this side of the paper. I just put the doily on top. It was a placemat actually. And then I just sprayed it with pink. I don't like it. I like the tea dyed in the background. This here was nice. Now this placemat that I used for this, I got it in the fall or something, and it's actually shaped like a pumpkin. And I got it at the dollar store, and it actually works very well. I love the little pattern that it leaves in there. And some more. Not sure what I sprayed the top of this with, because I don't have yellow, but I did use something on there. Here's my favorite doily again on here. I did spray this with a little bit of something with a shimmer on it. And this one here, hint of green on it. Very nice. Love them all. So I guess I did end up showing them all to you. But hope you like this. Hope you find this useful. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment and I will do my best to answer it. This is kind of 2 days worth of papers. As I say, I only do 6 at a time, but I'm not in a hurry, and I can do it. I can sit down and do it, and I can take my trays outside if I want and dry them in the sun to dry quicker. But as I say, it only takes half an hour, maybe an hour today because it is cooler. Half an hour was on when it was kind of warm in here. But I hope you find this useful. And as I say, if you have any questions, Where do I get my tablecloths and doilies and stuff from? Mostly from the thrift shops, garage sales, etc. Last year, the year before, I was lucky and found a couple really huge tablecloths at the Lions Club garage sale. They were in some Thrifty Canucks videos a year or two ago, but they were like huge. And like I say, I cut them down a little bit bigger than 8.5 by 11, because then one piece will fit. That way I can just set my paper down, put the tea on it, just like I showed you, lay the piece on top, and it doesn't take a lot of room. And now that I'm doing it on these trays, having them that size makes a really big difference. Now here is one of the ones we've done. It's still pretty wet. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll take it and I'll flip it over, and you can already see the tray texture coming through on this. You can see where it's going to be a little around the edges. But it's just a fun way to do it, an easy way to do it. When I first did tea-dyed papers, I did do them in the oven, and I found it a lot of work. And I've also hung them up on my clothes horse. Doesn't work for the doily ones, but if you're just doing straight dyeing like this, I put them on my clothes horse, just put them over the dowels, and I'll stack them up and do like hundreds. But now the problem is that I can't stand there long enough to hang them all up. Now this is working really good for me. I can do it in a very little space, and I can sit down and do it. Little time consuming because I can only do 6. It'll be a little bit better when I get the 10 more trays. Then I could actually do 16 at a time. But I find the 6 actually works very well for me. I mean, it's not like I'm trying to mass make them and sell them, although you never know, I might put a few batches up. Now I just want to see what was on the other side. This was that bow paper. You can see where the design is. So like I say, any paper will work. And it's nice. And here's that Christmassy one. You can see all the dark spots forming where the dye was kind of stacked up. I don't always turn them over, but you can see how nicely the tray pattern is coming out in there. And I think that just adds just something special to this. And of course, the grid paper, graph paper. And now the doily one, we do not lift them up until they're dry. Try to be patient and leave it down. You can see it's all nice and flat. So this should produce a pretty nice pattern. Now I could lift it up and I could peek, but I'm not going to, because I find that if you leave them down until they dry, that's the best thing. Now you can tell if they're dry, you can put your hand on it, but like here, it'll start to curl up when it's dry. And this will get a pretty nice pattern. And it's actually the same doily as that is. And this one turned out pretty good. Yeah. See, I wasn't too fussy. I kind of like it when it's broken. I know, like some of the ones, you can buy these types of things on Etsy. I do not see a lot of people using the Shimmer mist. But mind you, Shimmer mist is not cheap. But I was lucky enough to get, I bet you I got 30 bottles of it, maybe even more. About 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm still using it. Like I say, I also dilute it with water. I put it in a different spray bottle, and I just add some water. Usually I use distilled water, just to prevent it from going bad. But it's going to produce a really nice pattern on this one. So I hope you found this useful. Give it a try. Keep your eye out for plastic doilies, plastic tablecloths, placemats, etc. Look online. There's lots on different sites for sale. I know there's some on Amazon. Just search for plastic doily, plastic tablecloth, plastic placemats. Always make sure that they've got the holes going all the way through. Now, I bought a tablecloth once. It was on Facebook Marketplace. And I got like 3 or 4 tablecloths from the lady. And the one had kind of a whole plastic coating on the bottom side of it. So none of the holes went right through. So that one did not work. And I just resold it on Marketplace or sent it to the thrift store or something. But the other ones were good that I got from her. So do keep your eye out for that. And a lot of people will use stencils. Buy big stencils, and they do work. I have some. I don't normally use it. I prefer the doilies. Of course, I mentioned this is my favorite. And I have 2 styles of this one. And I really, really like them. Really, really like them. They are by far the nicest. This is the other design like that it comes in. But they were big, huge, round thing. But cut it down to make it easier for me. So check out the links below. I do have a previous tea dyeing video, which I did outside back when I could stand better. But it was a handheld camera thing, so it wasn't as great as I wanted it. And there's lots and lots of tea dyed videos out there, so take a peek. Check out the links below, check out the shop, etc. And share, like, subscribe, hit that little bell, etc. And we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.